Hey, can y'all hear me?
Dang, I should have worn my alpha gear. Oh, golly, man. Yeah, I got to go change then. So anyway, but what's good, fellas? Welcome everybody to secondary sessions. Let me go ahead and introduce the panel. We have Mario.
What up, though, everybody? How y'all doing?
Good Lord, can't Quan, get your camera straight. We got Derek,
What's going on, y'all?
right? And then I think finally we got Quan. I think he's good now.
No, he out. He dipped. He said he had
Smith's
enough.
daddy.
Enough of this
Smith's daddy.
secondary education. I'm done.
All right.
Can't take this.
Completely. Well, first of
Can
all,
y'all hear me?
man, now we could hear you the first time.
We heard you before,
I
bro.
can't hear you, bro. I'm sorry.
Well, that means you got some phony headphones then. Headphones trash. Hoodie dope though. Hoodie's dope.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I can't.
Well, while he getting himself straight, first of all, man, I actually do want to say, man, I appreciate everybody coming in and actually tuning in on this Martin Luther King Day, man. This is like, it's a very, very special day. Not only because as educators we get that day off, but celebrating the life of Martin Luther King and an amazing, yeah. Uh, hit that right, Daddy. I'm talking to my wife, by the way. Yeah, that one. Just put it right there. I'll give it. But anyway, but yeah, not only just an amazing man, an amazing trailblazer, but an awesome man of alpha. And so I'm definitely always going to make sure that we continue to give him his flowers, even though he has gone away from us. I will say this: this is the first year that I've ever not participated in anything for MLK. Like this is literally the first year I've ever done that. So it kind of feels weird to not do that. I probably will never do that again though.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we were supposed to do the same thing for we had a soup and socks giveaway for the homeless today, but it got postponed because of the weather. But then the weather ended up turning out just fine. So it was kind of like,
extra
oh man,
lovely.
Smith. Yeah, it was just cold, but it wasn't like snowier and stuff like that. So we missed out on that opportunity. But we'll get back to it next Saturday though.
Yeah, yeah. Derek, did you do anything with Norcom? Was there a parade this year in Norfolk?
Nah, man. Every parade has been canceled this year, man.
Wow.
Even the Grand Illumination one. So yeah,
Wow,
Wow, really?
yeah, man.
that's crazy. Yeah, yeah. I know. Just kind of going back, like I said, this is the first year I've not done anything. I know that when I was in St. Croix, we do the MLK parade every year, and the chapter, as well as all the Divine Nine, do the MLK walk, and then I've done almost every parade every year. So it's really weird to not do anything. But for all those who did go out there and get out there and do a parade or do something, I know Alpha Sigma Lambda here does the candlelight visual on Friday nights, I believe. I think it's Friday. But for all those who did do something, man, continue to not only just support and uplift that great man, but just uplift the community, period. We need to continue to actually uplift the community and do things in the community to support our people and just, people in general, but definitely the community, African American community and communities of color. All right. Still trying to get Quan going, but let me see if he can you hear us now?
Can you hear me?
We
Yeah,
could
we
hear
can hear
you
you.
the whole time, bro. We could always hear you.
I couldn't hear you, but God is good. I'm here.
There you
Hey,
go. There you go. He gave you that blessing. He done bless
hey,
you with a
right.
little bit of sound. Uh, but yeah, and while you're in here, man, I did see that you did do a performance today with the kiddos, man. So kudos to you. I know that you got that parade blues right now. When you hit that parade, daddy, you don't want to do nothing else for the rest of the day. It's tight. So I get
Facts.
it.
Yeah, praise take a toll, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off. I'm gonna go ahead and do my little spiel. Everybody, welcome to Secondary Sessions. As soon as you come in, go ahead and smash that like button. Don't wait, just go ahead and hit it. Also, please make sure that you subscribe to the Passioneers Network and turn on notifications. Today, we are talking about administrators, man. This this is something that I feel like we all need to have conversations about and converse about, because I think that either we've all had similar experiences or different ones, but I think in most cases we have similar experiences, and I really like to let's dive deep as we can possibly get. Pause. In in this conversation, man, because I think that as educators, music educators especially, this is definitely a needed conversation. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get this thing started. So, let's go with the first topic. Should we get admin involved with our activities? Should we get admin involved in our activities? Just to kind of give you some backstory on where this thought process came from. I remember at my old high school, one of the problems that I was having with admin is just the fact that there was a lot expected, but not a lot understanding as to what we deal with. So I invited my admin out to rehearsals with the ending goal to be a performance. Um, Needless to say, not all of my admin showed up, but the one that did got a different perspective of not only what I was dealing with as a standalone band director, but also what the students deal with. That's my phone. My bad.
Go Power Rangers, dog.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, my admin got an understanding of what it feels like to actually be that student and be in that seat. So that's where this question is coming from. So should we get admin involved with our activities? Derek, you got it first.
Um, I think we should. Like you spoke about, it gives them a different understanding of it. A lot of us have administrators that have no knowledge of fine arts, whatsoever. Now, me particularly, I have a different case. My principal was in the band, so I was kind of blessed to have that. So um, I never really have that kind of issue of him showing up to rehearsal. He'll pop up when he wants to. He comes to all the performances. I do think it's really important for the banner to include that, though. Even if you just extended the invitation itself, I think speaks volumes to an administrator. So I think we should involve them. I don't, it's the administration of your school. They kind of control a lot of stuff you do. So, yeah.
All
Oh man,
right.
see what the quick change.
It's morphin' time.
He
It's
went into the
morphin'
I
time.
had to go get right,
He went into
I
the
had to go
booth.
get right. I couldn't let my bros be on here without having my letters off.
Yeah,
MLK Day. Yeah.
On MLK Day, man, got to show that old gold, baby.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sorry, Derek.
No, but I mean that's pretty much all I got.
No, I heard what you said. Yeah. I'm just saying, sorry because you.
Well, hit the telephone booth like Superman or something.
Absolutely.
Right.
Uh, but Quan, should we get admin involved with our activities?
Uh, Short answer, yes. But if I could kind of twist it, I think the admin should want to be involved. In our process as well. What I realize is a lot of people, we could say it like this, like they want the rhythm, but they don't want to suffer through the blues. Like they want a product, but yet and still they don't want to honestly like suffer with us in that building process. And I think that's one of the most frustrating parts overall. Like Derek said, if you have a administrator that participated in band and see the overall value of band, then absolutely, like they have a different, appreciation for it. But some of those administrators who are just, for lack of better words, dumbfounded by the process of building a band program, because the truth is we're not athletics, even though is band in is marching band or being in a band, in my opinion, is a sport. It's a different type of discipline in fine arts. So many people don't understand that part. So you need an administrator who needs to empathize with you to be like, hey, what's this process for your organization that we want to see successful on our campus? They should want to be involved. From my experience overall, the administrators that I had that was, compassionate towards me trying to build that process, like they basically gave me what I needed. Not always what I wanted, but what I needed. Like they were adamant on, giving me the proper, scheduling so that I can build a program. They were adamant on, okay, what is the bottom basis for what you need right now? How can we resolve this problem instead of just brushing under a rug? And then around September, November, they're asking me about the Christmas program because that's what their concern is about. So I think overall, they should want to be involved, honestly, because if you're a really good administrator, you want all facets of your school to be thriving. That's academics, fine arts, athletics, so forth and so on. So I think that question, like I said, your question is awesome, but I think it should be some of that accountability should be placed on the administrator, and they should want to be involved in the process of building that band or that music ensemble or program, and not just pushing it after school.
That's deep. I didn't even look at it from that perspective. All right. Mario, should we get admin involved with our activities?
For me, I wouldn't say so. Yes and no. And the reason for me saying yes and no is because yeah, it sounds great in theory. Like currently, my administrator, my principal, my head principal is he had experience in music. His father is a musician. He, the music producer and stuff like that. He has experience in that world. And so, I mean, right now I'm taking advantage of that being the case. He was to help rebuild our music production studio in the school and kind of get things going. And that's wonderful. But the reality is that we haven't spoke of administrators change like the wind. So to get an administrator in your corner means all of nothing after 2 or 3 years when they're gone and moved to another place. Now you've had all of this investment in time that you put into this person, hoping that this person was going to help you build your program, and now they've moved on to something else. So I think if anything could be done that can actually be sustainable, it's talking about having empathy and respect. If you have empathy and respect for the craft that we do, just like you do for English and math, then I think we wouldn't have an issue. You sit down and you have a conversation with math and English teachers and science teachers and stuff about what the if it's a good school, obviously, about what the needs are, about what the baseline is, about where the competitive levels are amongst the people in the community, which is your district, and then obviously your region and stuff like that in the state. So I feel like if you come into this with an idea saying this is not something I know a lot about, so I'm going to come into this with humility, coming in humble, right? Coming in humble, like my man Quan says. But if you come in with humility, I think it allows you to be able to have a space for true growth as an administrator. Because if so, for instance, I want to become an administrator, um, and every every time I think about it, it like flip flops. And one of the things that I said is that when I do make that step and go into administration, I want to make sure I'm respectful. I'm not just like pro band. I'm like respectful of the entire school. Don't become the problem that you didn't like to somebody else just because it's not, you know what I mean? It's not your subject or whatever. So I feel like just having basic like baseline respect for everybody, the fact that these people went to you probably interviewed this person to come into your building. So if you interviewed this person and that person had to have requirements to be even get the job in the first place, then you must have respect for what they did, unless you was just trying to fill a spot. And in that case, then that means there's a overall issue, and that's not just something that's going to be fixed on that'll be school level fix. But then what happens to your feeder? What happens to the school before that? Like it's too many issues that are at hand if respect and empathy aren't in place. So those things are sustainable, in my opinion, that can actually be changeable things, rather than saying I want them to be like, coming to performances. And sometimes like that's great. If you got that, that's wonderful. But most people don't have that. You know what I mean? I've had performances for my 13-year career, 12-year career, and now I haven't, you know what I mean? I can count on one hand how many times administrators have actually been to my spring concert when it's evening, when it actually is a sacrifice. So I don't know.
You bring up a heck of a point that I didn't even. Once again, I didn't even think about, like the change in the change in administration. Like I'm not even like I was going to ask, like what do you feel like the idea or the thought process is as into why admin change so frequently? But I don't even think that we even have a thought process or a baseline for that answer.
Well, I can tell you
However,
why. I can tell you exactly
okay,
why.
well,
We
well,
can.
well, we'll get into that. All
But
right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
hold
like
up.
yeah, we can go to that later.
We'll get into that. So we'll get into that. So, but my other half of my other thought was this: have you guys ever dealt with an administrator who came? So, like, you dealt with an administrator who was working with you, boom, 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 and then another administrator came in and was like, "Yeah, this is the way we dealt with band at the old school. So this is my expectation for you to do it at this particular school. However, the way that the band functions here is not necessarily the way it functioned at the old school. Has that ever happened to you guys before?
Yes, that's happening currently, actually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How have you all dealt with that before?
Interesting, man. Like, so my administrator, I mean, I don't know if he'll ever see this, but if he does, it's just, it's my truth. So it is what it is. He came in and was like, when I first met him, the first day I met him, I hadn't, first of all, we have a black male principal, which is not common. And so, and he's not he's like a manly man, like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. So he's like that type of dude. Like he's a Sigma, went to HBCU. He's like that type of cat. Like, and that's very rare up here in Jersey. Just so y'all know, like in terms of demographic wise, it's not a common thing up here. So when I first met him, he's like, "You the band, you the music teacher?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I didn't even know we had a band here." I'm like, "Wow, okay, that's something." And he's like, "Nobody knows." He's like, "Nobody knows y'all got a band here." I was like, "Nah, that's not true." He was like, "No, really, no one knows you had a band." He was like, "No one knows y'all exist." I was like, "I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to still stay respectful." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "I hear what you're saying, but like, that's not true at all. We literally was just performing at Lincoln Center, bro. Like you don't know what you're talking about, but you're only talking about marching band because your bubble is small. You're only talking about this marching band ish, and that's not how I operate. I don't operate in a marching band bubble because my kids in my school are the culture of that building is not really fit for marching band. It's not. It's just not. It's just not the culture. I'm better off with concert band and jazz band at that school because that's just the type of kids that I have there. So that doesn't mean we don't do marching band, but it's just not gonna be the way the concert and jazz band will be because the type of kids are different. So we've had to grow, and then we had Hampton come up, right? And so Justin Langley, right? So he was there. Shout out '06. So he was like, Justin was like speaking about introducing some of the kids that I had in the band in Hampton and was talking about them or whatever, whatever. He was like, "Man, your band director is like, well known throughout the South and stuff. That people know him." And my principal was standing right there. So he turns to me. He said, so people know about you, huh? I say, I told you on the first day, but I'm not a bragger though. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not. And I was just like, shout out to Justin, bro. Like if you see this, man, shout out, because I was like, people was calling me to have my band come down to the Atlanta high school ballad bands they had some years back. I've been requested to do a lot of different things because people know who I was either as a bandsman or know how I operate in terms of the type of kids that I send from my school to other places. And with all the stuff that's against me, I felt like it was a punch to the effing gut to have my current principal say that to me. But I took it and was like, it's all good, because this is one thing I will say to band directors. You got to cut out the personal. You got to cut out the personal, because if the personal gets too attached to to what you're doing, you lose track of what the goal is. And the goal is not about feeding your ego. It's more about making sure your program goes forward. And that is a strong balance to keep intact sometimes. So I'll stop it there.
Any of any of the other brothers, y'all brothers, dealt with the same situation or similar situations?
So for me, maybe not a direct administrator like a principal or vice principal, but we also have curriculum administrators too. I don't know if that counts, man. I've, you know, my issue is when somebody's expecting you to run your program a certain way. That's the kind of thing I'm having with my curriculum administrator, not my direct principal. For me, it's just an issue of overstepping, though. And expecting you to do certain things when that's not what's good for your students. It's not working for your students. You know what works on in your band program. But I didn't have so much of a detailed experience as Mario had. My administrators, they've stayed here since I've been here. I've had a vice principal leave. That's probably the most extreme thing I've had. But they've all been supportive, man. So I can't really even dive too much into that subject for real.
Well, for me, real quick, and I think Julian, knows the situation. It was a particular charter school district. Like the more and more that you basically lamented to your principals, it was just an overall. I use this word a lot, infrastructure issue because they wanted you to run band program, and it was very like militaristic, like mindset, like every school is going to run the same exact way, uniform like this. It didn't matter the demographics. It didn't matter this, but this is the system. But the truth is, they really didn't want to invest into band. Now they were trying to implement guitar, orchestra, and things like that. But for specifically the area of band and even fine arts, they wanted you to do not only everything, but they wanted you to do it in a certain way. And first of all, they didn't give you the tools that was the tools to build the realistic goals for those programs in those particular areas. And honestly, when you have people, I hate to say it like this, like they just have curriculum instruction degrees, but they never really build programs, like we always say. In their mind, everything is kind of like what we call in Texas the PPR mindset, which is perfect world mindset. But that may not be the situation and case in your particular school. And that was very
Mhm.
arduous, and you can tell they really didn't want band programs because it was a charter school, but they really wasn't trying to pour money into those programs as well, set up festivals that really meant something overall. And Julian
I,
laughing because he ran one of them invitations.
I know. I mean, I can really kind of expound on it because I don't mind having this conversation. So yeah, I was at the charter school I think before you, Quan, and
Were
the the whole thing was I opened the school, built the band program from the beginning, and when I actually interviewed for it, the thought process and the thing that was told to me from the original principal and administrator was, yeah, you're going to get a new state of the art band room and blah 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 blah, and you're going to get all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool. So he showed me the plans, and I was like, all right, cool. This looks okay. This looks like we're going to have a good setup. So I walked through the building as the building was a skeleton. Now, this is just kind of the beginning of everything. So we walked to the band room, and the band room is still pretty much a skeleton. So we really can't tell what's going on. Now, fast forward, the band is completely put together. And then they're like, yeah, you're going to be on the stage. And I'm like, the stage? Like the stage of the school stage? And they were like, yeah, that's your band room. So wait, so mind you, this is a charter school, so we're dealing with kinder all the way to I think it's kinder to eighth, and the gym is directly on the other side of the stage. So you have stage, partition, gym, and this none of this information was given to us from the beginning. And so that was the biggest problem that we had off top. And so, me being who I was, I started arguing and complaining. I so much so that they were like, "Okay, well, fine, you'll just be the fine arts lead over that particular school since you have X amount of complaints and issues and grievances." And I was like, "All right, cool, I don't have a problem with that." So, so that was really the beginnings. And I complained so much that they decided that they were going to put sound paneling, quote unquote, inside of the band rooms. So they came through and they put some phony sound paneling inside of it. It actually did really nothing because we were on a stage. But, one of the other complaints that I had about it was that when the school needed or a school had an assembly, guess what we had to do? We had to break down our setup, move everything to the side in order for the school to have a performance on the stage. So that was one of the big issues. Now the truth is they didn't want to put any money inside a band because they refused in most cases to buy instruments. They didn't buy or didn't make an attempt to buy like saxophones or clarinets or flutes or anything like that. Did they buy bigger instruments? Yes, but you only got a set of money at the beginning of the year, and you had to spend that money your first year. So I think it was like 20,000. I think your first year you get $20,000, and you got to take that $20,000 and you have to buy everything that you need. So that's if you need timpanis, if you need a tuba. But here was the catch though. Um, their biggest thing in that
A
district
tuba,
was,
you're supposed to get multiple tubas in a timpani with 20 grand.
yeah, bro.
You get one tuba
And
for
a half,
20 grand.
1.5.
Right, one and a half.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. I'm not lying, but
One
but
and
You're
a
not
here's
half
the kicker.
joking.
tuba.
Here,
One
You're not
here's the
album.
joking,
kicker.
yo.
Here's the thing that they tried to do to us, and
Lord
I
Jesus,
refused to
bro.
do it. I literally refused to do it. They said, we want a orchestra program, we want a guitar program. So you're going to have to take some of that money and split that with the orchestra teacher and the guitar teacher in order for you to get X amount of dollars, or in order for them to be able to have what they need as well. I said, absolutely not. That's not what's happening. You're going to find a way to fund my orchestra teacher. Well, we didn't have an orchestra teacher at the time, so we just had a guitar teacher. So I said, we're going to find a way. You're going to find a way to fund my guitar teacher, so they're going to be able to purchase whatever guitars they're going to need, and I'm going to keep this money so that we can be able to do whatever we need. Now, while I was there, that's what happened. In other schools, though, they took that money, that first year money, and they split it up between other entities. I just refused to allow them to do that. So that was the second thing. Now our festival was terrible. So this is how our quote unquote festival went. All of my kids, well, I ran the festival in our district, and so I had to set everything up. I ran it. I did it. I tried to get it as professional as possible, but the way that the system was set up, it wasn't like as we know a festival to be, right? You get a one in this, or you get a two in your performance, or you get a three in your, right? Like that's typically how the festival is set up. Oh no, my brother, that's not how it was set up here. They said the way that we're setting it up is you get first place, second place, third place. So yeah, exactly. So to give you a better understanding, we had, because I had to run art, band, and choir for that. And so we had, I think, three different schools, and all the schools who came entered their stuff. And then once they entered their stuff, we had to add and tally up all of the stuff. And then we based it on who had the highest score. That was first place. Who had the next highest score? That was second place. The next highest score was third place. And then those people went to the state competition. All right. So we had a first place, second place, third place ensemble. We had a first place, second place, third place soloist. We had a first place, and then that was just bands. So it didn't matter what school you came from. Whatever school got first place, second place, third place, that was the ones who were going. And then the same thing with choir, and then first place, second place, third place art. So here's the thing that messed everything up. When I got to the quote unquote state, everybody there, it was it was maybe about 1% band. Everything else there was guitar. It was guitar, and then I think I saw somebody, one of my guys that I taught drum corps with. He had a BD line that was there, and they were doing a BD solo or a BD ensemble, and yeah,
What?
absolutely. You had a jazz group that was there from another school. So we get I'm telling the whole story to bring it home, but I got to tell this story. So we get into the performance area, and I go and talk to the judge because we have to turn our forms in to the judge. I walk up to the judge and I say, "Oh, okay, where are you from?" And they tell me what school they're from, and then they're like, "Yeah, I'm still a student." Uh, and I'm a choir student, so I really don't know much about band, but they just asked me to come and do this because X, Y, and Z. I'm like, what? Like, are you serious right now? So you have no idea about what a musical instrument should sound like, what an ensemble should sound like. You don't have any. No, I don't. Okay, fine, whatever. But when these people start performing, let me tell you, we had piano solos, we had a jazz band solo, we had a jazz band group, we had guitar ensembles, my flute ensemble. I had a flute ensemble, I had a saxophone ensemble, and then I had a trumpet soloist. And so all of these people are competing in different areas and all in the same area. Doesn't matter who or where they're from. They're all instrumentalists practicing in one or performing in one area to get a first place, second place, or third place. That's
Or
it.
compete with greater music.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
So here's how. Like I had my kids playing stuff that was off the PML because I wanted to prepare them, right? But there were kids who were coming in there playing the latest pop chart. Like that was that was the competition. So all of that to say, I think that I think that Quan is correct. Whereas we really need to there are areas that are not focused on music education, admin, and things of that nature, where they're not thinking about those things. They can care less about those things as long as there's bodies in the room. Then they're like, yeah, well, it's going, and then they're not also willing to fund it because as I was leaving that situation, what I ended up finding out, they didn't want to truly fund band because it was costly. It was easier for them to be able to fund guitar because you can buy a set of guitars and boom, you're not buying major instruments. You know, you're not paying $2,000 or $3,000, you know, for larger instruments or you know a whole set. Because I had at the time I had like 80 kids in my band program. Guitar programs, at least there, you're only working with about maybe 20 kids. So they're keeping costs low. So that's why they were focusing on that. So yeah, Quan, to bring it home, yeah, you're absolutely right. But that was the heck of a story. What's going on, Jared? So
What up,
anyway,
Dre?
What up,
yeah.
though?
So
What up, though?
are there any final thoughts, man, on not what I just said, but anything else on should we get admin involved?
Yeah. What do you do about it? I mean, I mean, in my 12, 13 years of time that I've been teaching, man, I've found that teachers, and this is not this is just to be devil's advocate. Teachers love to complain. A lot of teachers love to complain. Teachers sit at the lunch table or in their little lunch conference room and just talk ish about the administration, about what they don't like. And so what I had to do was because the problems weren't changing. And so what it does is just drives you insane. Like literally it'll drive you over a cliff, like a mental and emotional cliff because you're worrying about what's not instead of about what is. And so you gotta do one or two things. You either gotta put yourself in position to be of power to try to change it, to get inside the system, to be able to enact any change you can, or you have to ask your schools to run PDs, and that's actually what I'll be doing in January. I'm going to be running a PD about in combination with our um, one of our grant writer people in the school, and we're going to be sitting down talking about music education and why and the importance of music education and all the people in the and I'm actually going to conclude the PD with a staff performance. So we have staff members that play trumpet, play different instruments, and we're going to have a staff performance and have everybody do testimonials about their experience about how important it was for them to participate in music and what that meant to them being able to do what they do now even better. And so having them understand that it's not just a I don't like the idea that music makes other things better. Like other thing music is equally important. It's not a jump starter for this for stuff. I hate that. Like, oh, like if you do well in music, it'll make you better in math and science. I'm like, bro, like that. Yeah, I'm not saying that's not true, but there is just value in music alone. Period. Stop right there. There's enough value in us without anything else. And so um people can't say it's not important because we can really start asking those serious questions. In my PD, I'm gonna say, how many times have you had to use um trigonometry in your daily life? How much time do you spend with physics in your daily life? Those of you who are not teachers, obviously, like in your daily life, like you go into the store, you're just doing regular people shit. What do you have to do? So the reason why I just wanted to bring that up because I'm trying to do something about it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll find another way. I'm going to keep working to it because I can't spend another 15, 20 years in this position not trying, complaining and sitting on a mountain of sadness and shit. So I have to try to do something. And so this is the first part about advocacy and community helps even give us the strength that it needs, that's necessary, and the support that we need in each other to be able to make these calls and try to do something to step up in our districts.
And to add to that, Mario, I think the bottom line, what we have to honestly begin doing, we need to honestly create like plans of actions and literally show
Right.
like you guys say that 2 3 year 4 year plan of what you plan on doing for those students. And then the bottom line is school running money. If we're gonna be 1,000 and keep it a buck, school is turned to big business. Like we see this is another aspect of corporate America. And the reality of it is, what runs corporate America? Money. So if you can't, honestly, I hate to say it, but if you can't show your value, the value of music, because we know what it is, we know how it transmogrifies lives. But if you can't show how this ensemble organization can bring and funnel money into the school in a positive manner,
Right.
it's really going to be hard for us. That's why I say, like, my not saying that my administration changed after my Langston trip, but the neighborhood and the students and even the teachers was like, they getting that much money to go to school. And that's been like, how many of, I'm pretty sure you guys on this phone have received full scholarships to go, or full scholarship offers to go to school to play your instruments. That's been, you know what I'm saying? But now people, due to social media, is just starting to realize you can go to school for free playing an instrument and know you don't have to be a music major. So until we start honestly showing that data in their faces that this is concrete from a qualitative perspective, I mean qualitative and quantitative perspective, we're gonna keep fighting a good fight like we're doing.
That hey well, first off, good evening everybody. Um
What up? What up?
I've been checking out the show since y'all came on. And man, there was a lot of great points said. I was chiming in even though I wasn't on this mug yet, but when y'all was talking about like administration change, that turnover, uh that hit home because my first school I was at Advanced, man, I had five head principals since I was there. Don't get me to count APs because I don't remember how many of them had changed. But Quan, you're definitely right, man, about building that like rapport. Well, no, showing the importance of your program. Definitely because I had some good principles while I was there. Um, Mario, you was talking about, forging relationships with admin and why that's important. How many people come to your concerts and whatnot? Yeah, I ain't had that many neither.
Right.
But when I did have a couple, you know what I'm saying, who were behind it, because they saw that importance. They seen me, taking the kids on trips, going, to all these colleges and universities, and kids getting band scholarships and in large amounts. You know what I'm saying, like we definitely turned into like a athletic school, and for band to be pulling in as much money as it was just scholarship wise, we didn't pull money into the school like because of funded events. Like we didn't make the school money, we didn't do that, but I was getting kids out of Charlotte, you know what I mean? And that was my big thing. And so admin started to see that too. And using the power of social media to broadcast these things, the community started to get behind it. Oh, we want the banner to be here or there. And it was funny because I think Junior come to you with expectations, and a lot of times, no, they didn't. Uh, I went and was like, "Hey, this is what I got going on." You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to be behind it, of course. You the top dog or whatever. But I just want to let you know that this is not some. It's not little. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
it was funny. It was funny, man. I proved it to one of my principals how it wasn't a good school. It wasn't. And I was like, kids don't like being here. Kids like band. That's why they're here. Like my students. I can't talk about everybody else. I don't really care about everybody else. I care about my kids. That's pretty much it.
Right.
And he was like, the principal, he was kind of like new at the moment. He was like, that's not true. And I was like, let's find out. So we asked the kid, I was like, hey, come here real quick. Beautiful kid, you know what I'm saying? He was one of the top students in the school, a lot of school pride, all of that. And he asked him, he was like, you know what I'm saying, do you like this school? And he was like, I mean, you talking about the band? I was like, there it is, right there, like
If you
no,
gotta say that if you gotta
yeah.
preface it like, well,
I was like, yeah,
man, I
nah,
mean,
he's here for the band. That's what it is, man. I had more alumni coming back to the school than any other program. Um, and just to, what I'm saying, to show that to admin, like this is why they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Marching band or band period, not just marching band. Um, it was a big driving force um for the school. And I was like, man, you should make it important, dude. Like, just get behind it. It's something positive. You know what I'm saying? You definitely Mario, I like the advocacy thing you got going on, man. Like, no, don't talk about how I can enhance something else. No, just me by myself, bro.
right. I
I am a
mean,
big deal,
because what you end up becoming is just like like
like a
a
supplement.
yeah, like we're just
Yeah,
using you as this booster for other stuff. I'm not a booster, bro. Like respect me in what I do by
yeah,
myself. Like I don't, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
man.
I don't. I feel you though. I don't.
Yeah,
I feel it.
it definitely helps. You know what I'm saying, to have those relationships, man. And I don't know if y'all had mentioned this part, but like uh RPT essays and stuff like parental support was terrible in the school,
Mm,
and so because I had a lot of band parents, involved in things, they started to get involved with school stuff as well, and admin couldn't crack that code. Like they was like, we just can't get parents involved. We can't get them to show up for nothing. But your parents is here. I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. We started putting people in them important, spots, and it kind of helped that advocacy piece out too. But
right.
yeah, I just wanted to chime that in. That was
All right. And to quickly say this before we move on, the the idea that band makes you smarter in different areas. I had to do a study on that during my master's class. That has been debunked, by the way. That has absolutely been debunked. We use it as a talking point, but it's been debunked. I'm sorry to say that for those people who try to use that. It's
Right.
tight
Right.
because, and I don't want to get too long winded because we got to move on to the next topic. But we try to be like, yeah, it gives you critical thinking skills and it makes you more disciplined. But like football can do the same thing. So like so, but it's been debunked on a lot of other levels too. They did the tests and the studies and stuff like that. So yeah, just want to put that out there. All right, man. Let's keep it rolling. Though. Welcome everybody to the secondary sessions, man. If you're in this room, go ahead and smash that like button.
I didn't do that part.
Also, please make sure that you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on notifications so that you can get all the updates that's going on inside of the network. All right, let's keep it moving.
You got a bot in here, bro.
Again?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
You're
let's
right.
let's stay in that thing.
R2D2 in this moment.
There you go. So let's keep it moving. I know everybody's different. So let's get your thoughts on this. How should we approach admin when discussing our needs? How should we approach admin when discussing our needs? Derek. Oh, Derek, did you start the last one?
Yeah, I did.
Smith's daddy. Mario, you got it.
Yeah. So, how should we discuss with our admins? I mean, first thing, I like to use model situations. I use a suburban school model and an inner city school model that are successful with their program, no matter where they are in the country, and explain to the when I say successful model, I'm talking about schools that are high performing schools that have good graduation rates and have a dedicated music program, and let them understand what they've what the investment is and why that investment helps the overall child. You know what I mean? Also, we look at statistics in the state because my school is big on statistics. By the way, Science Park is the 500, the 550, no, 506, either 506 or 551. I don't know. It's one of those numbers, I think, of in high school in the nation. So it's like very high performing, very intelligent. I'm going to Princeton. I'm going to Yale. I'm going to Harvard. I'm going to these type of schools, types of kids. So, um, you start talking about like, oh, like I'm gonna send you to Bowie State for a band. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the kids, I mean, and that's not to, that's just to be straight in terms of like that because musically that may be where they are, but academically that's not the world they're in. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not in like they're looking at the if they're gonna go to an HBCU, they want to go to the very highest echelon of universities. Like the girls want to go to Spelman. Like I'm saying, the guys want to go to Morehouse and stuff like that. They don't want to go to some of the smaller HBCUs and stuff like that unless they have no situation going on. So when I talk to the principals, I'm letting them know like my students they're getting the opportunity to have academic and band scholarships, and I let them see that track record. I let them understand, like Jared was talking about, this is what we're doing, and in order for us to continue this up, to continue to bring this positive light on the school, this is the resources that we need to make this happen. These are the classes that these kids need. This is the instruction and the time of instruction that is necessary to kind of get this going. And I let them know that's what the situation is. If you decide to do otherwise, understand that my role, I mean, what's expected of me may necessarily have to be flexible because this is what it's going to take to get this result, basically. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I usually talk to principals about. Let them know what the result is that they're looking for, and let them know what I've looked for. Let them know where the results have been over the last whatever many years, and let them know what it looks like in terms of support. What does support look like? Because some of them don't know. So you have to explain what support is, and explain it from a scheduling standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a moral standpoint. Not telling, make sure you talk to your and this is a big one in my school. I don't know if you all deal with this. Making sure your guidance counselors aren't talking shit about band when they're scheduling, talking band down, saying, "Oh, just take this class. That'll be a bird course for you." And then when you come in and it's not a bird course, now you're pissed at me as if I did something, as if I'm not teaching a class like everybody else it is in the building. So those types of things are important to try to create a culture of appreciation for all classes. Period. So that's my
All
that's
right,
my approach.
Jared, how should we approach admin when discussing our needs?
I definitely go at stuff. Um, I want to say it's probably statistically would probably be the correct word, but I was gonna say numerically. Like to me, I feel like administration is all about numbers. You know what I'm saying? Getting numbers up for things or whatever. So um to express the importance of why things are necessary, I'm showing like numerically what that looked like. So the school I'm at right now, my band schedule is not ideal at all. Like I had when I got here, like 60, probably about 60 to 70 people in marching band, in the marching band program. Cool. And I didn't have auxiliary at all. So this is all instrumentally. That's fantastic. Nice. In my band class, I had probably 19 people completely, like the entire day, 19 students. And then like six of them weren't band students. Like they was just people in there. And so I was like, hey, like, okay, I know I'm new. That's good. That's fine and dandy. this needs to change. Like this ain't gonna work because you know what I'm saying. In my interview and stuff, they're asking me. They have high expectations, which is fine, man. I'm good with can you program level 6 you get kids prepared for that? Sure, I'm with all of that. I am with all of it. But then I seen that schedule coming out, I was just like, boy, like so I put it together because my feeder program, bruh is sitting on he got uh like 200 kids in his program. And it's a direct feeder. They're coming to me. So I'm like, hey, and my high school is small. So I'm like, bro, we got an enrollment of probably about 600, 700 kids, right? Out of that 700 kids, I made a spreadsheet of every student who's ever taken band, like period. It's a third of the school. A third of the school has had band at some point. And I'm like, hey, it's a problem that those students can't have class during the day. You're missing a third of the student body is missing out on music education. Like when they took it before, and it's not necessarily because, oh, I don't want to take band. That wasn't the problem. I'm interviewing kids. Like I was doing I was doing a lot. So I wrote it all down numerically, and I took it to my head principal, and I was like, this is what I need from you. Like, I mean, you the top, and of course, what I'm saying, it was some delegation type thing. I did have to get involved with the counselors and the API, because that's the person who does your master schedule, and according to the schedule that was already created, it didn't make sense for band. Like, it wasn't built for band to thrive, let's say. Because like my kids I think they were scheduled last. Where at the school I came from, I was in the API office so much, bro. We scheduled me first. So, and then built, my student schedules around them having band, because they seen the importance of it. They was like, oh yeah, you getting kids, to go to college and to do this and be successful and blah blah blah. So I understood the number game and the importance of sharing that with admin. And I was like, it's cool, you know what I'm saying, that y'all have these, again, y'all got these expectations of me. I love that because you give me something to work toward. That's great. But you got to understand what I need as well to make that happen. Because I'm not gonna blow smoke, bro. Like, it ain't gonna happen the way it's set up now. This semester's a little better. um, I've been laying in some groundwork, and I guess I can say, they're taking heed to what I'm talking about. But it definitely helped that it was like written down, like it was written out. You know what I'm saying? I'm contacting everybody. I'm like, bro, this is a problem, and I got a big. I'm expecting large numbers of students to come in. I don't want them to miss out on things that they were doing in middle school. They were working. The middle school was working. So like they thriving, bro. I don't want them to get here and be like, oh, well, dang, I can't get in band because they won't give it to me. And that was a thing. Like, that was being said. I'm like, what? You asked for it and they didn't give it to you? So they just did everything after school. So we do everything after school. For now, we do everything after school. But write it down numerically. Um, and what's the and I'm still building like statistic data. I just got here, so I don't really have it. I could talk about what they did in the past, and bro, they was beasting. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were, and I was like, it would have been even better. You know what I'm saying? Had the kids had instruction during the day, because that can lead to a bunch of other problems for the director or whoever's in charge. But yeah, numerically is what you got to do. Well, for me, that's what I did.
All right. Derek, how should we approach admin when discussing our needs?
Yeah, so I mean, I was thinking about it, man. I think one way that we should not approach the principals or admin is in a complaining fashion. I think teachers get in the habit of always coming up to an administrator saying, "Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that?" I agree with both Mario and Jared. It's really, administrators are data driven. That's what the internet post on about school rankings. They'll tell you test scores and all. Like, how can we make the school look good? That's the administrator's job. They want the school to be quality. They want it to be good. They want to look good themselves as an administrator. So I think data is probably number one importance to communicating with an administrator. However, I think sometimes like giving them a tactile example can do a lot of things. Like I got a new drum line this year, and it took me showing the administrators the drums that I had. You know, I literally just brought it to them. I was like, hey man, had a kid play on it. You know what I'm saying? You had pieces falling off, rattling inside the drum. Just, you know, sometimes they need a tactile example, you know, in order to make some changes. Like we already spoke about it, bringing them into some performances, some rehearsals, stuff like that. But I think, man, just really like talking to them like a regular person, not coming with complaints. I think that's the biggest thing. They get complaints all day, every day. And if you want to get something done with them, come with a plan of action. Uh, Come with the data, like we said. Show them why the program has been successful in the past, and what can we do to keep it being successful, or get to whatever what items, what help do you need to be successful? How can we get that help? That's realistic, you know. So I, yeah, it's the data and the tactile things, man. I think they like to see stuff and they like to be able to read it on paper. I mean, they kind of strict. I say I haven't really had problems with my administrators. My administrators have been all the help I need. If I show them something, they're quick to get it as long as I explain why we need it. You know, I don't want to just give them something like, hey, we need this, I need this, I need that, without giving them a full detailed explanation of why, like, why do we need this? How does it benefit you? How does it benefit the school? Not just the band program. So, um, yeah, man, like I said, just the data and bringing real life situations to their face as well, and listening to their reason. I think we kind of put a brick wall when we're listening to administrators. Like if they don't agree with something, we never listen to their side of the story. You know, it's kind of like we can say something and say no, that we can't do that. Why can't we do it? And they'll give you a legitimate reason, and we just still feel like we're right. So I think listening to as well.
Quan, how should we approach admin when discussing our needs?
You drop your nuts on them. No, I'm playing. No, what I really think, I think everybody has said, yeah, just drop it on the table, bro. No, what I really think, everybody, I think we all agree that you need to come with some facts, like some concrete evidence of things. We say data driven. How many of us have literally said in PDs about data driven instruction? And we was like, bro, I just want to be a band director. Like that's the first thing you say, right? But you also have to come with a solution. After you sat down and you've studied what the problem is, you need to come up with a solution. And you need to come up with a solution where honestly that is feasible within a time frame. So that you can honestly, I think Mario might have said that it's kind of like a negotiable, where it's like, okay, you won't give me all of this year or this semester, but I need this semester. Like, and you also have to show them honestly that another example of another, if you teach, for example, in a low socioeconomic or Title 1, 2, or 3 school, show them what another Title 1 and 2, 3 school is doing that is working for them. And then you say, this is what they're doing. Why can't we do this? And I do agree with Derek to say to listen to the problem, you know, from a place of not to be subjective, but you're actually listening. But I also, you have to be bold and confident as a musician and music educator to say, bro, like this what works. Like I'm not gonna come in and say this is how you run your school, but I'm telling you for the aspect of music and for music education and not for this program to thrive, this is what it's gonna take. Now, if you're not willing to do that, and again, I'm saying this, if you're not willing to do that, well, it's kind of like you got to draw the line in the sand because some of these administrators, real talk, they are politicians. Like let's keep it a buck. So being that they're politicians, sometimes they blow smoke. They blow smoke. So it's like you got to see the writing on the wall. Like, hey, there's no way you can have a successful after school band program because the truth is, the same thing was happening to me at a particular school. And the fine arts director walked in and he said, hey, how many of y'all are in band? And it was like the band class. And I think it was like 6 of them. But I was blessed. I had 35 kids on the stage. He took me to the side and said, "Hey, I really can't give you money because you have an after school band program. I need kids enrollment in class." But when I brought that to the principal, they was like, "Oh, for real? Well, let me switch the schedule around then," because they didn't want to lose. They didn't want to front that money that it was going to take to fund that band program of what it really costs. So it goes back to, I think, what everybody agreed to, statistics. When you bring up enrollment, of course their eyes, light up. So when you speak about data, enrollment, funding, when you speak about those things, scholarships, they're going to incline their ear unto what you have to say. But if you come in there with the solution, I think everything is overall going to work out like it, perfect, like it should, um, to the best of its ability. But something we never spoke about either is sometimes some of these classes that they have for the kids that are low, they're double blocked. Like when I first arrived at my school, they had two math, they had two English, they had two science. So they had to take band after school. And some of those things are an issue in itself as well.
Definitely. And what you're saying is, I don't know if it's happening in New Jersey or Virginia or Georgia, but we got these P-Tech programs now, that are also, you know, beginning to really start getting in the way and changing a lot of things as far as band is concerned. So I definitely agree with you, or music education in general. So I definitely agree with what you're saying, Quan. So ultimately, everybody is basically saying, come with the data. Uh, Data is what runs the show, and you should be able to put that data in front of their face, but also be able to be open to listen to their response, but still stand on your principles and your needs of your program. Did I sum all of those up the right way? Did I put all that together? And
Yeah, I think you covered it.
got
Yeah,
you, got you.
I do have one question, and this is still in the context of the question. Do y'all have issues with dual credit at your on your campuses, to where like your kids have dual credit to where they don't put them in band, because that's a big push as well, for them to graduate with that associate's degree as well. Do y'all have kind of issues and scheduling conflicts with that too?
I don't have
Here,
scheduling conflicts, but we
oh
do have dual credit though.
yeah, I was about to say, here, it's not necessarily uh dual credit that's in the way. There's a special program that the school adopted, that they push onto students, and that directly takes ban out the situation because it uh it dictates three parts of their day, three classes of their day, or three blocks of their day, and then their fourth has to be a graduation requirement, something like gym and health. So you can't take band, which means, what I'm saying, you got to do it after school. But that's not every student. Like every kid is not in that. So that's kind of like what I'm working through now. Uh, well, so the answer to your question, no.
In Virginia, we definitely have that. We have a couple programs. We have First College, where basically kids are going to community college from the second half of their sophomore year until they graduate.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's really rare that I'll have a junior or a senior enrolled in my band class. I have two. Out of all my band class, I have two. I have a junior and a senior enrolled. Everybody's freshman and sophomore, just because of that's just the way it works. They do that pre-college thing, and they have early graduation in Virginia as well, where you can graduate in 3 years. So because of that, man, band is the first thing gets cut off the schedule. Yeah. So
Yeah, so Derek, that sounds very similar to our P-Tech programs that we have here. At my last high school, I can tell you, building a program with a solid P-Tech program was probably one of the most difficult things I had experienced, because coming in, you know that you more than likely will not have an abundance of freshmen. You're probably going to have an abundance of sophomore, juniors, and seniors. And because in most cases, my juniors and sophomore, juniors, and seniors were probably the more top students in the school. Those kids were involved in that P-Tech program. And so a lot of them, sophomores, were starting their college courses. And by the time they hit their junior year, they were going to the college campuses. So I had to figure out a way in my schedule to allow those students to actually be in class and be able to get whatever they needed in class, because if I didn't, the after school portion of it itself was difficult because of how the campus was made up. Uh, our campus was really weird. We didn't really have we had to share our field with our football team, and so in many cases we had to have practice on the tennis court in order to be able to do a field show. So it became difficult if I didn't have them, during school. So yeah, so that sounds very similar to our P-Tech programs here. All right, let's keep it moving. Oh, any final thoughts on the last one, on how we should? I think I covered it though when I said everything and put it all into one perspective. So yeah, so I think we good. All right. So if you're just tuning in, man, welcome everybody to Secondary Sessions. When you come in, go ahead and click that like button. Let's go ahead and get these likes up. It doesn't matter if you like it or you dislike it. You can get a thumbs down. It's okay. I don't mind the thumbs down. All right, but if you like it, go ahead and click that like button. We appreciate it. Also, please make sure that you subscribe to the Passion Is Network. All right, and turn on notifications. Next topic. Do you feel administrators are informed of the needs and expectations of music educators? Do you feel administrators are informed of the needs and expectations of music educators? Quan.
So I'm gonna say this from my experience, no. Um, Again, like I said in the beginning of the show, many of them, they have the perspective or perception, they want the rhythm, but they don't want the blues. It will cost you, real talk, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, to build an adequate program. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost money of the school to invest into that program. And many administrators who didn't experience band or choir, so forth and so on, they really think you a magician. They don't understand that you're a musician and that it takes time to build for a specific result that you're looking for. It's going to take uh, parental involvement and all of those things. When it comes to the admin, for most times they just want the product, and all they care about is the product. They're not aware of the type of planning that you have to do. And then when we speak about small groups, on how to properly affect that section that needs specific help, or what if it's a situation where some of those students are not allowed to practice at home? And we know the list of things that we endeavor through as uh, directors, but overall, I don't think they're informed. I don't think they're informed about some of the professional development opportunities that honestly that we try to get, and that sometimes they'd be like, well, why you need to go to that? I don't think they understand or even aware, like Julian just said, like they share the football field with the marching band, but the football field is out there until it gets dark and you possibly don't have no lights. So, that's the thing. Mute your mic. Those are the things that we endeavor through all year, and I don't think they are just informed. I had an administrator ask me, like, literally say, like, why didn't y'all do something on the field? And I was like, we don't have a field, bro. Like, the football team is on a field. We're literally marking lines in the parking lot that is literally, if if we had to go from the sideline, it would reach the first line of the front half of the 50. That's all a parking lot reaches. But you want a field show? Like they're just some of them are oblivious and just want the product. So when you speak about inform, man, they just don't know. That's just mine. They really just don't know unless they have dealt in that field. And that's why I say people like Mario, who are contemplating and playing, praying about going into the administrative side, are going to be great assets to truly change what's going on in this music education world. To empathize with that new band director who don't have what he's supposed to have, but you want an ensemble, or you know, let's even say this: how many honestly schools, and I never experienced this until I had to write my own, had a curriculum that a new teacher could walk into and to follow? Most times it's like that's none. So you're creating lesson plans on your own as a brand new teacher. Yeah, you took your classes, but you really don't know how to dive into that until you experience those things. So they just don't know, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna go second. I know Julian was. Oh, okay, Julian, you're back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I have to hop off. My daughter's and my son, they gotta be put to bed. So I'm gonna get to them kids in a minute. But I was gonna say, let me read this question again. Do you feel administration are informed of the needs? No, of course not. In most cases, no, they're not informed of the needs because this is something that I think that's a something we haven't really spoke about is music supervisors, like the art supervisors of your district. Those people are in position to specifically be advocates for what you do. If that is literally their job, like to be advocates for their teachers. If you can't go to if your principal is not listening, you should be able to get on an email or call on the phone. Hopefully you can call them, you good enough relationship with them and say, hey, I don't know. I'm in a no-win situation here. Like, what do you want me to do? And a good administration should be like, look, you know what? Just deal with the situation. I've talked to the principal. He or she is not always really flexible. It's really not a best place for a new teacher. Just at the end of the year, I'm going to put you in a new situation that I think will be better suited for you. I'm like working out situations, or you say, you know what? I'm going to find a grant money this year to sponsor. 2 administrators and 2 high school teachers to go to Midwest, because I would love for the principals to get to see what that's about and see high performing music performing. This is the stuff that rotates in my brain as a future administrator. That's what I want to see, and that's what I want to implement. And I think that's important. Being able to say we have a instrument borrowing platform where if certain schools need instruments, there's people you can go to borrow things and put it in a database, and everything is done in a certain way. We have connection with the local symphony to get private lessons for the kids if they, at a lower discounted rate. We're using some of the teachers who teach in elementary school who don't have as heavy as a load to maybe see if they have instrumental skills to work with some of the high school programs as assistants and get a per diem payment to help out those programs and to keep everybody connected. So those kids who go from the middle school, elementary, middle, and high school, they'll see their teachers and they'll feel connected to the experience. They don't feel like there's a break off, even though there's a break off in their learning in the school because the scheduling may not be in part, but they may still feel like a connection to the arts. Like you talking about Jared saying, I have kids coming from a middle school where they're performing at a high level and then they get to high school and they have no connection. That if those middle school kids were to see their middle school band director in the building with you at the same time, that makes them say, you know what? I definitely got to play now because I see my band director there and my new band director. Oh, what's up, y'all? Now it gives them something to kind of an energy that builds momentum. Kids like to see. And then the next thing is like also having administrators that understand the importance of parent involvement. On the music side, when it comes to saying, okay, I know we have, like what Quan was saying, I know we have some parents who are not like always okay with certain things. We know we have band practices. Most band directors having practices every day. All right. And y'all have games on Saturday. So it's not any real extra time. Do we have any resource teachers or anybody in the building that's willing to take a little extra pay to stay here a little later? to make sure we have some food for some of these kids who may have a parent to get off work late, and allow this kid the opportunity to practice and obviously watch them because we don't want them getting into nonsense, but to be able to give them a space where it's productive. Because a lot of these public school kids who live in the inner city and like some of these inner cities, I know when I was at Cass, I was going home at 9:30, bro. 9:30, I was going home. I didn't want to go home because I wanted to be in my band room. So when you have an administrator that understands those situations, then you can put in place a band director who can lead with confidence. And oftentimes we lead with like, well, I hope this will be okay. Like, well, just F it. I'm just going to do whatever I think is best. Like, it's too much. Like, there's no plans. And to what Quan was saying again, I still don't have a curriculum. I literally do whatever I think is the best. There's no curriculum. There's no like, oh, you got to do this. Like, oh, at this level, they should be doing this. Like, no. Like, you know how people say, I know in Texas, sometimes you have like, oh, well, kids should be at this level. They should be playing this type of music and da-da-da-da. Like, there's nothing. Because they know they don't support it, so they can't give you any requirements when it comes to like they can't even schedule it. Then how you gonna give me a requirement to judge what levels kids are supposed to be on? Kids don't even play instruments in my district until 9th grade.
So how do you do lesson plans if you don't have that?
No, so I create everything. I create a plan at the year. I have a 2-year plan that I've organized. And the reason I do it as a 2-year plan is because nothing's guaranteed after 2 years in my district. So I do a 2-year plan and I organize what I want the kid to learn after year 1, what I want them to learn after year 2. And because the numbers get so small after that point, then I can usually organize it, per kid, because it's a smaller situation.
That's crazy.
So Mario, I actually did one for a middle school. I'm gonna shoot it to you. I'm gonna email it to you, and what I'm gonna do is whatever question that you have, but it's gonna be in a Google like document, and it's in the understanding by design, which is backwards design
Got
of
you.
thinking. So, and it's you can do it teaching music through performance. That's the book that I was using as I develop it. So it's concert based. So by the time they hit their Christmas concert, they should know this. By the time they hit their spring concert, they should do this. And then going into next year, they should have these skills. I'll shoot it to you, bro. Like, and I think that's
that's
something
kind
that
of
we
how
don't
my
do well
curriculum
either.
now is set up. Actually, that's kind of what I set them up for. I like my kids, my beginners. All my kids are 9th graders starting their instruments for the first time. 95% of them. So when we come back tomorrow, because we were off these last 2 weeks, they were not off, but we were doing virtual learning. So tomorrow we go back to school. When we come back to school tomorrow, they're up to A flat concert. So like I got them playing, C through A flat. And so I told them by the end of the year, they should be playing all 12 of their major scales like that. Like literally every month we're like, it'll be 1 or 2 scales, we build it up. And so I use the rhythm randomizer, and I have rhythm sheets and stuff that I give them. And I use the scales and the rhythm sheets to kind of combine and help them. They'll take assessments through that stuff. And that'll be a way to kind of promote their, obviously the facility as well as the rhythm reading. And I build it up through that. And then once you get those things, and I partner that with music that they like and stuff that they, we're playing Say So, like the Doja Cat song, or we're playing, I'll partner it with songs that they like and let them see. I'm like, yeah, the rhythms of these songs are tough. If you don't, you got to learn the rhythm so that you understand how to take it and use it and be able to, have it as a tool for you going forward. So not to be too long with that, but that was my answer. Like it's a lot to that. It's a lot to that response, but no, they don't. Yes, they need to know what's going on with us, but oftentimes they don't. I can't hear you, Julian. You muted, bro.
Smith. Anyway, yeah. Mario, I know you got to hop off, bro. So I know you got to go take care of your business.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
Yep.
For Talk That Talk. So I'll let you, bro.
Right. All right. See y'all, man. All right, fam. I'll see y'all.
All right, go.
Yep.
Who didn't go yet?
Yeah, I haven't gone.
Derek. Okay, go ahead, Derek. You got it.
But I mean, I like the way the question was worded. Because plain old no, they're not informed of what you need and what the expectations are. However, I think every administrator has their dream expectation of what a music educator is supposed to be doing in their classroom and the product is supposed to be coming out. However, I don't think they have a realistic grasp of how that's accomplished. And I think part of it is on us as educators to keep them informed of what we need. I know a lot of teachers, and not even just music education, but a lot of teachers don't really communicate effectively to their administrators. What help can they receive in order to stay on par with the whatever your grade level is for what you're teaching. Now I can speak to me personally, right? So in Virginia, IC Norcom is a big deal, right? Everybody's known the band program for 30, 40, 50 years now. There's been some legendary banders coming from there. They all have this expectation of it, including the administrators. However, this year, and even with COVID, we kind of dropped down dramatically. I had one trumpet. That's how small we got. I had one trumpet, two tubas, two trombones, one saxophone. The numbers that school is not used to seeing. However, and administrators' expectations still they still stayed the same for a long time. It wasn't like, okay, you've seen that we've had this drop in numbers, but their expectations still said, oh, I need y'all to hit the field on the first. I'm just talking about marching band right now. We need to hit the field on the first game.
Hey, but that matters, man, because that I had a problem with that. That COVID year, I don't know what the administrative expectation was, but it was, to me, just completely asinine for all. Trying to have the same expectations during that beginning of the COVID year, bro.
Right.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I completely agree with that. It's they have unrealistic expectations, but they won't take into account what the real expectation should be for whatever you're working with. And so many variables that tell you what the expectation should be. But I mean, like little stuff like that, like asking me to hit the field. I was like, but do you know where the skill level of the kids are at? They're still reading out the first 5 pages of standards to excellence, and you want them to go do a field show. That's not how this works. But most administrators won't understand that. Like I said, my head administrator, he understands for the most part. However, we start talking about curriculum instructors, right? People that's in charge of curriculum. So all of them aren't band people. In fact, I found a lot of, the head of your curriculum, like whoever your music supervisor is, a lot of them aren't band, and sometimes I don't want to say this in air. They don't know what is needed to run a band program either. And they have these unrealistic expectations to take a vocal. If you had a vocal teacher, now granted, they understand the synopsis of music education. However, they don't understand the physical aspects of teaching band, knowing that it's going to take a couple years for a kid to develop their face in order to play a certain level. I mean, just little small things, but they still have the expectation. The first year they need to be able to play grade 2 level. Second year, 3 and 4. I mean, they have these unrealistic expectations as opposed to being in the classrooms with us. They don't know what we're going through. So many different variables. So, I mean, just to simply answer your question, administrators are not informed. I think we can do a better job of informing them. We have been speaking about, we've been walking around the whole topic the whole time, but I think we could do a better job of informing what our situation is and what should be an expectation. It may give us some accountability. If we tell them this is what you should expect from me at the beginning of the year, it gives them a little accountability to follow through with that expectation as well. So,
say not to cut you off, Jay, but I think Derek, what you said is a mouthful. A lot of those administrators, they have lost touch with the classroom, and some of them have not honestly have been in those specific situations or scenario. Like, bro, I'm from a small city that's right outside of New Orleans, but my grandfather grew up in the country. I know urban, I know affluent, I know, rural. So I can speak to those experiences. Some of those curriculum instruction people, not all of them, they only taught it in affluent neighborhoods where things were ideal, where you had a feeder pattern, where you had 2 or 3, 4 people on staff. So you're telling me to do the same thing that you did when you had a whole team of people, but yet and still it's just me? And they had a revolving door of band directors or music teachers and music educators, and I don't have a curriculum, and I don't have a what's the word a proper scheduling, and my kids are being double blocked. Some of that is just like you telling me to make $1 out of 15 cents, and you still trying to hold me accountable of that. And I think that's some of the problem, though. I think some of these music curriculum people, they honestly need to get back into class to see, bro, this is what's going on, and stop saying, you're doing such a good job at these schools, and so forth and so on, but you're not suffering with me. It goes back to empathy. Once you get to those positions, if you can't have empathy for me to see really what I'm going through, then what you're really doing is blowing smoke, because you're not about that change either. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to take up your time, Jay.
Yeah, most definitely, man. No, outright they're not informed. You do get a dime a dozen administrator who, what I'm saying, you might have one who has taken band, or who has some kind of a background in some kind of like extracurricular anything. And so they're a little more empathetic toward what's going on, but you do traditionally get that uh, I just want the product, man. I want to see the performance. I don't know about your setup. I don't know about the practices. I don't know about none of that. Just I want them to sound good when I do hear them, or when I do see them. Well, why you have this going on? Why you got that going on? I have run into the to situations where what I'm saying, I invite people to see it, bro. Like, just outright, bro. Come to my class. Come see what this is. You see how there's 3 people sitting in these chairs right now, but you got like 40 that come out to school. That's a problem. Like, like what I'm saying. You need to shine that light on the issue. But what I'm saying, outright, no. No, they're not. No, they don't know what goes into getting an ensemble to perform high grade music. No, they don't know, what I'm saying, what it takes to move kids from point A to point B, or any of those things, man. It's so many things that we have to do as directors, um, that are unknown. And like Derek saying, man, you kind of gotta like communicate that part. You gotta share that part. Um, but like outright, nah. It gets, man, it pull on the strings to have unrealistic expectations with without knowing what it is that what it takes to do it. Like Julian was about, well, he was about to get into it. That COVID year, man, it's crazy. But a lot of teachers I respect, what I'm saying, they was like, man, I wish an administrator would come to me about how to teach anything during a pandemic when you've never done so. Don't talk to me. I'm gonna do what I can, the best I can, and that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not know how to operate virtually when that's not something I had to do before. That's not something I was trained on. That's not something we never had to do that. Nobody ever thought, oh yeah, we're gonna be at home for a year and a half, and you're gonna have these things. Nobody's done that. So for you to expect me to do, this, like hit these marks, I mean, yeah, it sounds good, but it's not realistic. Um, and so you do have to share what realistic look like, man. Sometimes, and that can be hard. You know what I'm saying? When especially when you have those programs that are thriving in your area. They right down the street, and it's night and day in comparison. But my success might not look like their success. And that's just what it is. Sometimes that's hard for us to grasp. You know what I'm saying? Like, us ourselves. That can wear on you. But um, I'm real big into self reflection. I'm trying to be more uh transparent about any and everything, man, the good and the bad, bro. I'm like, hey, man, look, if this is what you want, this is what it's gonna take to get it. You know what I'm saying? And this is not some like somebody said in the comments, they was like, they think that we're lying sometimes, I mean, it's just being open and honest. You know what I mean? But uh, outright, you know what I'm saying? No, no, they do not know. No, excuse me, no, they're not informed. I do know of a couple of dope situations where, like, administrators were getting involved. What I'm saying, you had admin going on the big trips to that kids was going to. You did have some attending those conferences and whatnot, but it was only because the directors were stressing it like that, like, hey, you should come and see what it is that we got going on, so you can thoroughly understand it. I can definitely say, not it wasn't admin that this happened to. I did invite them too, but I ran into something similar with parents, because parents was like, why are you having time and my kid don't perform or something like that? And I was like, hey, come and watch your kid. Like, come sit in the bed. Hey, you sit right here. Chill with us. The door is open, bro. Like, do it. And when they did so, they was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that so much was involved. Yeah. And he's sorry. So, and he don't have to be, he could get together, but you might want to advocate at the crib, like, hey, bro, you need to get together. And so I did the same thing administratively as well, especially on a scheduling standpoint, because there was this there was, I want the band to be able to do this. And I was like, okay, well, in order to get that, this is the things that we need to get there. And we don't have those. And this is not me making an excuse. This is just what it is. I'm bending over backwards for you to see what you see. Julian, I thought that was funny, man. You was talking about practicing on a tennis court, bro. I've never had to do that before until this year, and I was like, hey, like, that's crazy, because we don't have a field. So he's like, hey, man, when y'all performing on the field, when we get one, because we don't have one. Like, yo, that's
But that's why
wild.
we come across. That's why we come across rebellious though. Think about
Yeah,
it.
like
Your
it,
average music teacher or band director, they be like, man, like he be in his office, he look mean all day because I don't got my damn tools. That's why
that
you want
that
me to.
drink,
That's like pulling out all my teeth and then you backdoor say, hey, bro, I want you to eat this raw steak with no knife and fork. Go gnaw that thing, bro, and swallow it
oh
whole, bro.
snap,
Come on, bro.
that
bro.
thing, that thing
That
funny,
practicing
man.
on the tennis court it's not easy, bro. It's
It
not
ain't,
easy. Because the funny thing is, and I'm a move on to something else in a minute. But the
dang,
funny thing about that is that you, as the band director, you can visually kind of put your brain on where the lines would be and kind of make it. Them kids don't get that.
bro.
They don't
Yo,
process it that way. You know what I'm saying?
and
And you can't mark up the tennis court because, well, at least at our school, our tennis team was still using the tennis court.
mm-hmm,
So I just had to put the field markers down, and we just had to readjust step size, and then we would. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the day of the game, we would typically go out to the field and just run it like one or two times just for them to get actual field awareness. But then after that, it was tight.
bro. I didn't have field markers, and I completely forgot about that part. So I was trying to space kids to the tennis line. I was like, all right, y'all, imagine there's a line right here, and y'all gotta fit evenly through them boys, right? And for some, it worked, but like, I watched my show. I watched my show from like up top, and I was just like, "Dang, bro, that 8 to 5 didn't happen."
But here's the messed up part about that though. But then you're judged by that.
Yep.
Like then you're judged by that. And again, like I say, like we said on Talk That Talk, like there are great programs that are thriving, but how many people are being judged by some of like kind of like the cards that's being dealt? Because that frustrates you because you're like, oh well, I'm problem solving. I'm putting them on the tennis court. But a kid really can't see the lines. So then is that a reflection of me? So then honestly, as a director, everybody's been to this point where you question yourself. Then you be like, so is it me? Or like Like, what am I doing that's not right to grasp this result? But the truth is, either the kid ain't practicing sometimes, like you can give everything. You pouring out an empty cup, they still not practicing, and some of the tools you just don't have. So you have to, like you say, look at what's success here. Success here is I put a product on the field. Success here is they have a sense of tone quality. That's success here. And sometimes that's all some of these principals want. And sometimes you have to make that decision where self-love is the best, where you do your best by your kids the best way you can, and then transition to another situation that's honestly better than the situation that you had. And it's unfortunate because the kids suffer
Yeah,
in the end.
that took
I
place.
want to
Oh, go ahead,
I
John. Go
want
ahead.
to I want to quickly talk about what Quan said um, as it relates to administrators being disassociated from the classroom um, and not, being back in that classroom or being out of it for so long that they just don't even know or they're unaware. But there is another component to that. There is the random English teacher who never even cared about band, who all of a sudden stepped into the administrative classroom. So they can go back to that English room and they can talk curriculum and data and they can talk all these things, or they can go into the math class, but then they look at your class and they like, make it work. The band director at the old school, they made it work, so you just make it happen. So I think that is definitely an issue in which in which we deal with and have dealt with before. So yeah, that's definitely a thought that I know comes through my mind every now and then. So that's a great point that you brought up, brother. Uh, let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it moving because we all got them jobs and we were off today. But they gonna want us in them classrooms tomorrow. So I ain't trying to be up all night to get ready to go back on Tuesday. So let me go ahead and give this last topic, and then I'm gonna open up the phone lines for anybody who wants to go in or come in with us. I'm gonna put the link inside of the chat. So just be prepared for that. Anyway, let me do it the right way. Welcome everybody to Secondary Sessions. As soon as you come in, go ahead and smash that like button, and also subscribe to the network and turn on notifications. All right, here's the last one. After all this conversation that we've just had, do we give admin a bad rap? I don't know if I did. Was that the right rap? Is it W rap or is it R rap? See, this is why I'm a music educator, not an English teacher. Is it R rap or is it W rap? I don't know. I was wondering that as I was typing it.
I think it's W. I think it's W. I'm trying to think about
Think
why
it's
it
W?
makes sense. You rap something
Yeah.
like you see the rap. I don't know.
The totality of the piece or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
let me see. I'm gonna go off of your
Oh,
knowledge, young fella.
or would
Go
it
ahead.
be rep like reputation?
Well, while I'm figuring this out, one of y'all answer.
Go ahead.
Derek, you
Go
got it.
ahead, bro.
all right. Um, that's a hard question to answer. Because yeah, we give administrators a bad rap, but some of them deserve that. I mean, that's what we've experienced. Now, I mean, it's the same thing you can say for pretty much anything. Like music educators, they say the same thing about us from the outside looking in. So I mean, but it's a complicated question. Jared said it earlier. You get a dime a dozen. You got good administrators, you got bad administrators, um, and they gotta. We're not looking from their vantage point either. So, but for me, I don't think it's we give it a bad rep. Because me personally, I think I yield when I can agree with some bad things the administrators are doing, and then, I'm when they're doing some good things, I'm all behind it. So I don't think we all think administrators are just straight trash. Now we do. I think as a total of music educators, I do think we all agree that sometimes they get in the way of our success because they have the power to make or break our programs, and I think that's why we're so crucial of them because the decisions that they make directly impact what we can and what we can't do. So I don't think it's a bad rep. I think it's just I see you made the change right there. um, I think it's just we're really tough on them because their job directly affects us, and I think we should continue to be tough on them because they're going to be tough on us. So, yeah, but that's what I got.
Let me go ahead and clarify. I just read it. So originally, so it is reputation, but people do use RAP. So when people use RAP, people typically understand it to be the REP. So that's why I put the REP in parentheses. So it's either or. It's interchangeable. See, I learned something today. Look at that. Always willing to learn. That's what the beauty of an educator is. All right, let's keep it going. Quad, go ahead.
You forgot your question mark, by the way. I'm here to help my brother. So yes and no. I think Derek hit it spot on. There are some administrators, and so looking at it, let's play devil's advocate for a second. Looking at it from their perspective, their job is to run a school from top to bottom, right? And I think sometimes as an educator, because we have a passion for it, like we're selfish, like this is our baby. I want you to focus on this. Like, look, this is what we're doing. And as we're thinking about that, we're talking, the English department is doing the same. The math department is doing the same. The science department is doing the same. Athletics is doing the same thing. So it's kind of like if you're a parent and you got 6 kids who's saying, "Hey, look at me, look at me, look at what I'm doing." That's one point of view. But then you also have, honestly, the experiences that we've experienced, and for the most part, we've all experienced that administrator that has treated us like the redheaded stepchild. Like we are observed, and they can't tell you what you're teaching. They just know, say you didn't have that on your board. You didn't have your objective on your board. But you're not talking about my real grows and glows and how you can help. You know what I'm saying? But you're literally saying, nah, man, it ain't like you didn't have this on your board, or I didn't see this student really engaged. Like how were you doing small group instruction? Like they do those things. You feel what I'm saying? So there's a duality to both perceptions. But the bottom line is we've had some piss poor administrators that just was like, say, bro, babysit these kids because they need a quote unquote fine arts credit, and we'll deal with all that other stuff later. We've dealt with those. We've dealt with the ones that say, hey, I need you to do this performance. I've dealt with administrators that wasn't mindful of your time and was like, hey, I want you to perform Friday. Well, today, Wednesday. Well, yeah, y'all got to do it. And you like what you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like we've all experienced those things, but I've been blessed as well to receive competent administrators that was like, hey, I want you to build this band program and I want it to look like this. And they literally give you the tools to get those things. They help you write the grants to get those things. And I'm gonna say this, like a good administrator knows their worker bees. Real talk. And when they're a good administrator and they see your work ethic, they low key find a favor upon you. I'm a witness, and I've experienced that myself in the charter school sector as well as public school sector. When they see your work ethic and you have a genuine love for what you're doing for those kids, they'll bend over backwards for you. Are those the diamonds in the rough that honestly they be there like 2 years and get promoted real quick? Sometimes, unfortunately, that happens. Or I've seen where they win against the grain and were actually fired because they just wanted to do what was right. So it depends. We've had both. That's just like saying we've had good fried chicken and bad fried chicken. You gonna stop eating fried chicken? Absolutely not.
Jerry, I
Back.
didn't even know you were on, bro. Sorry. I
Yeah,
thought you
nah,
was
nah.
I thought you
Just
was taking a poop break or something. But all right, my bad.
nah. We just Janelle waving at the camera, but we in the dark. But
Gotcha.
no, we do we give admin the bad? I don't think so. I think you kind of, and I kind of, I think you kind of give it to yourself, man. Um, like through your act. Now, granted, they do have way more riding. You know what I mean? Because you get you get those that are informed, you get those that are not, you get those that micromanage, into situations that they have no idea about. You do get those that walk into your classroom talking about some, why don't you have this, and this, and it's an immediate rebuttal because you be like, well, I don't have these things. I mean, you can't tell me how to do my job when you don't understand what my job entails. Not and not even to be on some, some yeah, not even to be mean about it, just in general. Um, they said, "Hey, baby." Okay, but um, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I feel like you kind of write it yourself though. When you know when you have good expectations, you communicate well, you ask questions. I'm in favor more of administrators who are like transparent about what they know and what they don't know. Because I'm the number one person to be like, bro, I don't know what this is. Like, explain this to me. Because me sitting here faking it ain't helping nobody, and it would definitely be me doing a disservice to my students. So when I do run into administrators who they want to, I'll say, um, I be down with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, all right, you know what, this is what it is. And we can work from there. That's a good thing. And to me, those type of administrators have a better, rep than others. It's the one that speaks in totality, but they're not informed, or they don't. It's like they're rigid. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it is, and that's all. Nah, that ain't gonna work. And it is crazy when I think in education period, when you have a big turnover, it's man, it's like one of the worst things you can have. Because I take that to my students a lot. I'd be like, you know what I'm saying, you don't know what kind of a blessing that teacher could have been to you, but they're gone now, so that sucks for you. Like, you ultimately are the person missing out. Um, but man, yeah, they admin, teachers, anybody, you write your own, you build your own rep and whatnot, good, bad, happy, sad. They said night night, baby. Okay, good job.
Night night. There we go. Uh, all right, let's go ahead and bring in our first guest, man. He had to put it at '06 in there. Let's welcome Chuck to the panel. What's going on, Chuck?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
What's
Y'all
going on,
doing all right?
Chuck?
Good. What's up?
Yes,
What's up,
salute.
guys? Look, I swear I don't be trying to like tap in every week and give opportunity for people to come in. But every time y'all talk about something, you ask my wife, I was just like, ooh, this, and then y'all see me in the chat. But just to kind of on this question right here, do we give admin a bad rap? I think we're all very, very misunderstood. And it's taken me a long time to get to this. As a fiery band director my first year, I'm like, I very rarely I had to go to my admin my first year, which was a blessing. I didn't realize how that was till I went to a different situation. But at a drop of a dime, if there was an issue, like I was in, I was in the admin's office, like, hey, I need you to hear me, and I need you to share the passion that I have, on this certain situation. But as band directors, we've seen that meme where it has like the many different hats that band directors wear. They're dealing with that on a whole level in terms of the entire school, as an admin. And sometimes we don't think that. But I think the reputation, just like band directors, we get the stereotype of being a little crazy. I had a parent come to me and I had their child for just the first few days of band camp. He was like, look, I already know how y'all band directors are. I was like, how are we? He's like, y'all a little crazy, and so we have that stereotype as well too. So, but it comes from a place, we have to mobilize a lot of people in a short amount of time with a level of precision, and we can't be passive. We have to know how to flip that switch on and to get our troops in order, if that makes sense. And so, admin, they have to do that as well too. And so, a lot of times you'll have run into some admin that don't know how much a tuba costs, or what are the needs of the band program? I remember one situation I had to fight to, we started off with a certain budget, and then by the end of my career at this school, I was fussing in the office about getting T-shirts and explaining why it was important for our band to have T-shirts. And so again, when you've been with really good administration and maybe you go to a different situation, you can definitely, miss, some of the understanding. Because I think, it was said before, Jared just said it. I love bringing him into my class. In fact, there was one point that I felt like I was at odds with my administration. And, we all heard of that term. And if you've never heard it before, when teachers don't do right in the eyes of the school, they're going to put you on that action plan, and say, hey, you need to follow these directives because this is what we need. So I said, okay, it was kind of a test. I'm like, look, I don't think you understand why XYZ cannot happen. For an example, at one of the schools, it was a charter school, we had to, all of our students before they left their seat, they had to raise their hand and to be asked permission to go throw something away, right? Or to go do this. We know as a band director, especially if you got carpet and carpet that is not being cleaned, often you're going to have them go to that trash can, empty out the condensation, and then come back. I can't do that if I have a classroom full of 50 people. Every time somebody has to empty out some condensation. And so my students know, they looked at me, I gave them a nod, they got up and they went. I got dinged on my evaluations every time, for that. Students didn't raise their hand. So, I said, you know what, I'm going to do things as I know that we do, within the band room, and then I'm going to make administration come into my classroom. They were in my classroom for 4 days straight, and they said, you know what? We apologize. We're sorry. We had no idea of everything that happens in this classroom on a day-to-day basis, And so, again, it's all about communication. But sometimes, your administration, their goals may not, be aligned with yours. And unfortunately, that can make things come to a head. I mean, to be honest, one of the reasons why I'm here in Georgia now and not still in Vegas, my administration and I did not see eye to eye on some things that I would not budge on. And I'm just gonna keep it a buck. We don't talk that talk. I was not allowed to perform, lift every voice and sing. I was told no.
Well, just for clarification, we're on secondary sessions, but you can still say whatever you need to say.
Right. But, and so there's some things I know, first off, as a man, and, I'm saying, as I won't say a minority, I say a majority, that I just won't stand for, and there was no clear expectation on why. It was just a flat no. And sorry, and that was like kind of like the, the straw on the camel's back. I'm like, sorry, I just can't do this. I got to go somewhere that supports not only my vision, but my kids. We're in the 21st century. We have, I got kids that look like, they come from different cultures and different backgrounds and stuff like that. And we have to do things that are culturally relevant. So again, I'm blessed to have an amazing administration. I kind of like admin that's kind of hands off, but hands on when they need to. Let me do my thing. Don't let me feel micromanaged. I don't want that admin that's in my classroom all the time. I had an admin that was in the band. A couple years before me at A&T. It was a good situation, but then sometimes there were some things that we kind of, clashed on because he was in the band. He wanted things to be a certain way. I was like, I want things to kind of be a different way. And so we had to, come to an understanding with that. So again, this is effective communication all the way around the board to see what a administration wants, for their school. And is that something that you are willing to do? Some admins just want you to, they want that hook boogie. They want that, that entertainment 24/7, 365. They don't care about a festival. They don't want a jazz band. Is the drumline playing at something? That's what they want, and if that's what they want, and if you're that type of director that wants that, and that's all you want to do, then that's a good situation for you. But an individual like me, and I'm sure all of you guys on here, we want a comprehensive program. I had an admin that would pay for us to go to a drumline competition, but wouldn't pay for us to open up at a university concert, which was 10 minutes down the street. Made no sense, And I said, hey, don't expect us to do anything else, because my goal is to educate the kids on the, the whole totality. And so, again, it's very important that we all communicate in a nutshell.
All right. I actually have something to ask you in a second, but
Now, go ahead,
I
bro.
want to do the right thing and welcome Kari as well to the panel. I know, Kari, you got your thoughts, bro, and I'm gonna let you get them. I just got a thought on everything that you said, Chuck. It seems to me as though you're basically saying at some point there is a right way to be able to address the admin, but you still have to make sure that you are fighting and putting your foot down for your kids and your students and your programs. My question to you is, do you think coaches do the same thing?
Oh man, let me tell you. One thing you guys don't know about me, I coached basketball for 5 years, as well as being a high school director. Don't ask how I did it, but I did it. And so I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and I see it. I mean, even dealing with COVID, we had a little NBA bubble, and kids were still playing when I was in Vegas. But man, we couldn't do anything. We had kids at the track at the local community college running in the dark. But don't let me try to get my drum line together, And so, to answer your question, yeah, we have to be defensive, and this is something that we were taught when we were in undergrad. I remember being in my secondary methods class and them say, you're going to have to defend your discipline. How many other disciplines have to do that? Like, think about that. I mean, I get it. I know students show up to the math class and they're maybe not as interested as they would maybe PE or band or something else. I get that. And I know that's just, dealing with the different disciplines. But again, why do I have to defend not only to recruit kids to my program, but to other adults and other professionals why this is important? So, again, to your question, with athletics, no, I've seen it. I've fussed at parents for getting a $50 mouthpiece, and they're like, why? But then these kids got $250 brand new sneakers at tryouts. Probably not even going to make the team, but they got it. They got their gear. They're ready to go. And it comes from both. It comes from not only the parents, but also admin with their support. I remember not having admin at concerts, not coming to events, but then they had the basketball game front and center, at the football game front and center. Like, hey, we support football and all these other sports. Why can't we get some people to come to our concerts? At least admin. The people that's supposed to have your back, And so again, it's definitely not the same. I've taught in 4 different states, and it's always the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it ended up boiling down to that money, unfortunately. But again, it's not the same with athletics, because again, you see that presence. They just like 3 or 4 men at a game. I think there has to be. And I think it's supposed to be that way for all school events, if I'm not mistaken. There's supposed to be an admin present just in case, some security, just in case. But it doesn't happen, And so again, it's I was always taught, my band director told me the best way to lead is by example, and you got to be present. My first principal, and I know I'm gonna shut up now, but my first principal when I first started teaching was at an alternate school. His name was Reverend Gobble. He was my assistant principal when I was in high school. I showed up to the interview and he was the principal. My interview lasted less than 5 minutes. He was like, Charles, yeah, you were in the band. You want a job? He's like, you didn't cause any trouble when you were in high school. I see you got your degree. Come get this job, And so again, having those principals and those admin that are present, that are excited. I always give my admin t-shirts, band gear so they could wear it, what I'm saying? So the kids can see that. Those are things that I've just learned over the years to have that man on your side. But, again, if you don't have admin that are doing that and that are more lenient to the athletic side of things like that, kids know, kids see it, who they support and who they don't. And it's unfortunate that sometimes, what I'm saying, it's only a big thing when we go on a big trip. I know a couple of weeks ago, we're talking about Prairie View going to Macy's. You know what I'm saying? I dealt with that when we did a national performance in DC. I wasn't hearing a lot from support or whatever, but as soon as we were in the paper and on the news, everybody want to come around and get a little bit like, hold on now, you weren't sure the gym with us when we were making this happen. Don't come around now. But that's happened at a lot of programs. It happened at A&T because I was a chaperone when they went in 2011. It happened at North Carolina Central with Dr. Jeremy Reed when he was there. I think they had 30 seats on their plane that was given to random people that were part of the university. And other band members had to find ways to get to California. I'll just leave that there. So, again, I just feel that, it's not the same when it comes to athletics and performing in fine arts.
All right. Kari, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, what's going on now? What's going on, everybody? Yeah, I as you guys know, I am not a band director, but I am an administrator for a college. Now, here's the difference. I wanted to so badly work as an administrator for high school. Now, I've got a bachelor degree in music. I'm a professional trumpet player. I've played in Midwest. I've done a lot of different things in music. I have 8 DCI World Championships that I've won. Now, the thing is that but that wasn't enough. I had to be in the classroom for 3 years. And that's where it's different in college. You don't have to be an administrator. You're not in class. You have to be in the classroom. You know your lane. You have your faculty members, they teach. They advocate for those students. The job of the administrator is to advocate for the teacher to make sure, okay, you just ask them, yes, so what exactly is everything going okay? What can I do to help, or what can be possibly done? And then the administrator advocates for those persons and says, yes, what can we do? Possibly we can do something, maybe not, because, they have a boss too. Those administrators do too, and so they can only possibly go so far. But that's the thing, you stay in your lane, basically, and you allow, because all of you on here are very competent teachers, right? And I look at the whole thing kind of like a chess game. Don't think that I'm calling you guys pawns or anything like that. But I think of it like a chess game. Like the person is sitting at, they're sitting at the chessboard. And you guys are the pieces, and they're going ahead and building the team to go ahead and make you an unstoppable force. And that's just what it is. You allow those pieces to do their movements, period. Because they can move only one way. That's there. It's up to them though to make sure that happens. The other person's just there, kind of making sure, okay, yeah, this one can move this way, and this can do this. But the thing is that there's still free will on the other side. And that's what needs to happen. There needs to be that duality of thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and let Quan's in the classroom. Okay. Yeah, cool. He's in the classroom all the time. I'm not. So how am I going to go ahead and tell Quan, do this with your students? Because the students that I may have worked with, if I ever did, it's a whole different feel. The makeup is totally different, so the kids that I worked with are not like the kids that you worked with. They're not exactly the same. It's not the same makeup. So how can I tell you with certainty, no, this is what you need to do? I can tell you, hey, have you tried this? Would this work? You need to go ahead and tell me. And it needs to be more, once again, a conversational thing. So that, I just have a real big feeling about, the whole thing when it comes to administration, because I see it, a lot of times in the high school, middle school, elementary school thing is that of course, they want those people to have 3 years in the classroom, and those people tend to go ahead and step all over the people who are in the classroom at the time. And that doesn't need to happen. They know how to do their job. You hired them. They were hired for a reason. Let them do their job, and you advocate for what they are doing. If you can do exactly what they ask, great. If you can't, cool. You explain that to that teacher. Like, hey, like I went ahead and I asked other persons, but it's not going to be possible because there is a 5-year plan for building certain things. They've already went ahead and allocated all this money to these different things, so we cannot add these additional things. So that all of a sudden it's known, okay, boom, this is what we're doing. Now, how can we as a team move forward to help you to get that classroom to do whatever it is that's needed to be done? That's what true administration is supposed to be. But because people go ahead and get in the way of the teachers that are in the classroom, I have so much respect for the teachers that are in high school, middle school, elementary. So much respect, because as you guys say, you wear so many hats. But more than that, you also wear the hat of that you have to worry about being when to be the leader and when to be subservient. And that, to me, that shouldn't have to happen. You should always be in the role of, okay, yeah, I'm the teacher in the classroom. That's what I do. Now, the administrator just goes ahead. And of course, hey, like Chuck said earlier, cool, like you go ahead and like if you invite me in and stuff like that to check stuff out on my own, because then, like, for example, when you gave the whole carpet thing, that shouldn't even have been an issue, because in truth, that's also a health hazard. If I don't clean the carpet, then all of a sudden, what can happen with those people when the condensation is on the carpet? People are getting sickly, mold is growing, whatever else. That's on me. That's on the school. That's on the district. When if somebody gets sick? So in truth, that shouldn't have to happen. Like there should be something, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, every week or every 2 weeks, people come in and clean the dang carpets. That's it. It's really that simple. And so even if it's that it has to be, like, say that it's got to be me as an administrator coming in and cleaning the carpet, fine, but it's got to get done. It has to get done. So sorry for ranting there, but that's my belief.
I mean, you good. You just got to be able to get all of it off your chest, because the reality is, and I always say this, I create these platforms and these spaces for us to be able to do that. So it's all good. I want to be able to hear it, and I'm pretty sure there are people who are watching who want to hear it as well. So it's all good. Chuck, any thoughts before you go?
That, man, just y'all keep up, the good work, bringing up these good topics. And again, I really hope that, we got some young, budding music educators that are listening to this, and also seasoned one as well too. That's the only way we can grow and get better is when we listen and work together. And so y'all just keep up a good job, and looking forward to seeing the next topics.
Absolutely. Appreciate your support, brother. Kari, any thoughts before you go?
Appreciate, everything y'all doing. Keep it going and stuff. And I mean, I thank you for letting me speak.
Man, always. You got a home here, brother. All right, man. I appreciate both of you fellas. 06 to both of you. And I will see you guys next time. Appreciate your support, bro. Derek, you lonely in this, brother. We got
We need to find you a grad chapter up there in VA, bro.
Tight.
Just get this over.
I don't. I'm not even gonna speculate, but he's in Virginia. 9 times out of 10, he probably want to be in Omega. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It's Virginia, especially in that area. But I'm not gonna tell. I'm just saying, I mean, he may have that old goal in him, but I don't know.
Unfortunate. So unfortunate.
Hey man, that area, man, the area is different, bro. It's completely different than what we're used to. When I went there, it was a culture shock for me, bro, because the Qs was running it, especially PG at Norfolk State. EPI, I let them dudes, but PG was running the yard. I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie. So, but you ain't got to tell us, Derek. You just keep it on your brain, and whenever you come out, then we'll figure it out. All right, man. I appreciate everybody for hanging with us and sticking with us on this Martin Luther King Day, man. I think it's really important for all of us to be able to have these conversations, and these conversations are necessary. Hopefully, those who are listening and even those who are on the panel can probably take a couple of tidbits with them and take it back to their classrooms, or even if we have some admin who probably are in here lurking, it's all good, man. I mean, maybe this gives you a little bit more insight on what your music educators are thinking, and gives you a different way to approach and a different way to attack. So these conversations I want to continue having, and I'm going to continue having every single week. So I appreciate all of you guys who stuck with us the whole night. I know we got to get to work in the morning, but this is definitely always needed. So before we get out of here, Derek, any final thoughts you got for us, bro?
I mean, not much, man. Let's continue to have this conversation. For the people that's listening, invite your educated friends, invite your band friends, and actually current students. I think we kind of miss that audience sometimes. The current students, I could just think back to when I was an undergrad. This would have been helpful conversations to have my ear in on before I graduated. You know, you get an extra insight onto what we actually do as band directors, because you're really never prepared until you step foot in that classroom. So that's about it. Thank you.
All right, Quan. Any thoughts? Anything you got?
Yeah, so I know we talked about admin all today, so I do want to take the time to thank my administration because they are supportive of my program. I would like to thank, honestly, Mayor Sylvester Turner for his support for Ebony Worthen Early College High School and the Marching Product Sunnyside Band. We performed and opened up for the original MLK parade today. That was an awesome experience for our kids. And just overall, it's just time for us to bring bands back in the city of Houston in a positive manner. Build those feeder schools, build those elementary schools up, those feeder patterns, and continuously to invest into our high school program. So there's don't despise small beginnings, and keep fighting a good fight, man.
Yeah, and that's something that I don't know how I'm gonna do it, man. I do believe in the power of prayer, and I believe God is definitely real, and He's amazing. And I'm saying that because when you say what you say, Quan, about bringing band back to Houston, being a product of Houston and growing up in that atmosphere, it is really discouraging to see either the number of schools that don't exist and or the number of school band programs that don't exist, and the way that band has completely changed in the city. Numbers are massively lower, and I know it's just not in the city of Houston. I know it's everywhere. Even just knowing Norcom when I was at Norfolk State, and I know it's different now. And I know that's not a reflection of you, Derek. I know that's just a reflection of the time and culture. And so, with that being said, I really am, and I don't mind even saying this on this platform, because this is why I have this platform. I'm really on an initiative to really see what I can do to help motivate and encourage and build programs. So that's definitely one of my biggest tasks. In my life, I'm realizing that my fight is changing, and I think that's a great thing, because I think that shows growth. So with that being said, I think that Quan, what you said is definitely important. So yeah, 100%. Let's not only just grow the programs in Houston, but let's grow the programs everywhere, especially programs that have an amazing history and an amazing lineage. Even here in the Dallas area. So all of those things matter, man, and it matters not only to us as directors, music educators, but it matters to those students, because I know that being involved in programs like band was one of the things that inspired me to just be a better person all around. And it kept me out of a lot of things that I could have been involved in negatively. So let's just keep fighting the good fight as music educators. Let's keep on forging this path. I appreciate once again everybody coming through. If you haven't clicked that like button yet, go ahead and click that like button, and also go ahead and subscribe to the network. As Derek said, man, bring your band friends over here, bring your music educator friends over here, bring your students over here. I am never going to turn anybody away, whether it's on secondary sessions or whether it's on Talk That Talk, because I'm going to always want to continue to have these conversations. Final thing that I'm going to say, TMEA is coming around the corner. It is coming up soon. Derek, I know that you don't know what TMEA is, but it is, if Midwest is the pinnacle of what's the word I'm looking for? Conventions, I think TMEA is like second right under there. And honestly, I would invite anybody to come to TMEA and check out a TMEA. I don't care what state you're from, because I think that it's a wealth of not only knowledge, but just educators who go up and down those hallways. I think Quan was with us on last TMEA when we had the pleasure of meeting John Mackey. And you realize these people are just normal people, man. John Mackey, and he's actually really funny too. But we had a great time just kind of hanging with him and just talking shop with him. And it's just a really big event. And so that's coming up soon. So I know that I don't know, Quan, are you going to TMEA?
Yeah. Due to the new COVID restrictions, honestly, some districts are really not allowing their teachers to go, and if they go, they have to front their whole, cost and everything. So, but that is my goal to go. I'm gonna go in Jesus' name.
Okay.
I'm gonna be there.
There you go. Yeah, they just issued a mask mandate, so yeah, if you do go, just make sure you got your mask on. But I'm definitely going to be in the building or the convention center. I don't know. We're going to be there, and we're actually leaving on Wednesday, so I got to figure out a way to do the show because I'm working not to miss a show. So, but we're working on that, man. But anyway, I'm not gonna spend all day talking about TMA because that is a whole hour-long event in itself. But once again, man, I appreciate everybody coming through. Don't forget, we got Talk That Talk on Wednesday. And when that happens, we will have the one and only Dr. O'Neill Sanford with us. So please make sure that you are here and checking us out on Talk That Talk on Wednesday. And we will be back next Monday on Secondary Sessions. Once again, I appreciate everybody joining us. We will see you guys next week.
Happy MLK Day.